you have joined. Thank you so much for this, and thanks, John, for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge about the Salesforce testing. I hope my screen is visible now.
Legal priorities visible.
Okay. So today we'll talk about the testing in general, and then we'll relate it with the Salesforce. Okay. So, all right. Uh, this is about me. Okay. I am in Chandigarh. I work as a senior software test engineer. This is my LinkedIn ID. You can follow me on this. I am 2x certified. This is the agenda for today's this session. We'll talk about the testing. Why do we need testing? Software testing life cycle. Okay. We'll talk about the type of testing, levels of testing. Then we'll go for testing in Salesforce. Then we'll touch about the test automation also. Okay, and we'll talk about the tools to automate the Salesforce, and then we'll talk about the we'll take the Q&A session also. So, what is testing? Okay, so testing is uh, testing has different definitions, right? So testing is nothing but comparing the actual result with the expected result. If we talk about the software testing, so expected behavior of the software that you are testing and the actual behavior of the software. Okay, if both are meeting, then the software is good, testing is pass. If both are not meeting, right, both are not matching, then there is a bug, then we raise a bug. Okay, so this is in general, this is very basic uh, definition about the testing. um, and if here I have two steps, okay, to explain the testing. Basically, first is verification and second one is the validation. So verification, what exactly we do in the verification part, this is the first step of start testing of any software. So during the verification part, what actually we do, we just make sure are we building the product right. We compare the requirements, we analyze the requirements, we go for the reviews. In this verification method, we go and check the documentation, user stories, right, the business requirements. So there are several techniques to do the verification, like reviews, code reviews, and inspections, right, and peer review of the documentation. So that is the verification part. Now let's come about the validation. So in the validation, after the verification gets done, then we move for the validation part. So during the validation, we go and we check, are we building the right product, right? So in the validation part, we match the actual result with the expected result. Expected result is already been verified in the verification phase, but here during the validation, we are comparing, we are doing the actual testing of the product. We have the software now under test, and we are performing testing on it. It can be your UI testing, it can be performance, it can be your functional testing, right? Different level of different type of testing you can perform on, and you validate whether the software is working as expected or it is not working as expected. What is the actual result? So that comparison, the testing gets done during the validation part. Okay, so what tasks come under the verification? This is the next question that is arising in your mind, I hope. So these are the four things that actually we do during the verification, like reviews and inspections. So reviews about the requirements, about the business needs, right? And the inspection, are we writing down every business need in a proper way or not? Are we following the best practices or not? Right, these all are the part of verification. Then walkthrough, where we discuss the business requirements with the team members and the stakeholders, right? They have given the client has given the requirements to the business team. Now business team is drawing these all requirements in a particular format, right, and to explain the team who is going to develop it, right? So that is the walkthrough sessions. And the code reviews, in this code review, the team lead, right, the developer lead, or it can be, you can say, the unit testing part of this. During the code review and unit testing, these both are the, the parallel activity that gets done during the verification part. During the code review, the team leader, right, the lead, the manager, or the senior person, right, who is leading the particular team, they go and check the code. Are my developer following the best practices or not, right? Is there any gap, or is there any area of improvements where the senior person can suggest, okay, you can do this, you can do this in less line of code. So optimization can be done during the code review and unit testing. Now, what tasks come under the validation, right? So during the validation, functional testing, performance testing, as I mentioned, it depends on the nature of the product that is under testing, right? So UAT can be here, right? Functional testing, performance, security, usability. So what actually we do during the functional testing, we functionally, right, the tester functionally check is all the functions, all the features, right, the click feature, login feature, let's suppose, these all features are working properly or not for the end user in the product, in the build that is, under test as of now. If there is a requirement of performance testing, then the testers go and check the performance. They create a proper performance testing plan, right? They mention the load that is going to be tested on the particular software, right? And these all planning already gets done during the verification part. The test planning, what type of testing we are going to do, these all things gets, done during the verification part. In the validation, we perform the action on that particular planning that we have already done during the verification. So these are the five things. This list can be more, right, or this can be less, depending on your nature of your organization and the requirement of the software. If it is tested for the security, then security can come under the validation. If it is not, then you can remove it for your particular from your particular test plan. So it depends. Okay, so here I have a little question here, right, just to keep everybody engaged in the session. So we have been learning about verification, validation. Now this is a very basic question that I want to ask from you guys. So anybody who knows the answer, you can unmute yourself and you can tell me what is the right answer. Which of the following is a verification method in the software testing? We have four options. So if
If
anybody, yes,
there is an answer code review.
code review. So verification method, the right answer is the code review. That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. And another one is for validation. So which of the following activities is primarily associated with the software validation? We have four options again. So anybody who knows can unmute yourself and can let me the answer according to you.
In the chat, there is answer UAT.
UAT. So here in the four options, there can be one more, right? UAT and one more can be there.
Integration testing.
Yes. So B and D are the right option, right? Unit testing and the code review, these are the part of verification, right? And UAT and the integration testing, these both are the part of the validation. Thank you so much for the answers. Now the next question that is very general question. Why do we need testing? Actually, in Salesforce, if we talk about why do we need testing, we have we have already done the verification thing, right? We have already planned it very well. Then why do we need validation? Why do we need testing actually? So this is the next topic, right? So software bugs can cause potential monetary and human loss. So these are the two things that I have got from the internet. These two incidents have been done in the past, just because of there are some glitches, right, in the software. So software testing is really important because if you have tested the product very well, right? If your test planning is good and your software meeting the expected result, then these kind of incidents can be stopped, and your software, your end product, that can be perform better in the market. So these are the top 5 reasons for the software testing. These are the top 5 things that why do we need testing actually. So the first one is identifying defects early in the stage. So during the verification method also we find the bugs, right? When business has given some requirements, right? So some requirements are you know uh, easy to develop, easy to meet. Some are some things cannot be done, right? Or some things have some tricks to implement that we need to convey to the stakeholder. They have some expectations, but they are not that technical. They might not be that technical savvy, right? That's why they have hired one consultant or one consultancy, right? So in those requirements we go and we define, the business team defines the requirements according to the what actually we need to develop, right? So during the verification part, when writing the business requirements, right, we go and we review these things. So during the review also we find the bugs, we find the questions over there, right? So okay, for example, there are something that cannot be done if you do this, so this can lead another issue in your in your software, in your testing environment, or in your production environment. So these kind of the things can be identified during the verification phase. Second is ensuring software quality and reliability. So after doing the testing, you can ensure that your software quality is high and your software is reliable, right? If you have performed the good testing, if every aspect of the software has been tested for the expected result and it is meeting, it is validated, then your software quality will be high and people will rely, because it will not fail in the market, and end user will not get the bugs. They will have a good user experience, they will have a good uh, functionality of it, because it has been already tested in various environments with various users, with various type of users, right? Mitigating risks of security vulnerabilities, as I have already mentioned, if there is a requirement of security testing, for example, you have a application which is related to the share market, or which is related to your banking. So of course there might be security risks, right? People can try to hack it, people can try to steal the data from the server. So security testing should be done on these type of things, right? It again depends on your requirement, your business requirements, right? So you can mitigate the risks of security vulnerabilities and system failures. Okay, so fourth one is enhancing the user satisfaction. So if your software quality is high, if if the software tester has already used it as an end user, right, and they have their let's suppose there were bugs and those all were reported and fixed, so now the user experience is increased, enhanced the user experience with through the positive user experiences journey, right? There are several techniques to uh, to increase the UX, the user experience of any software. There are several techniques to do this. Next is optimizing cost and time by preventing the costly rework and delays. So if bug has been found during the verification method, right, it is very, it will not, because it is not gone in the coding part, it is not still implemented. So we have already saved few hours, we have already saved by detecting the bugs early in the stage. And if we don't detect the bugs early in the stage, it will go in the implementation and then it will come for the validation, and then you will find it. There might be chances you might skip that particular scenario, so that bug can go in your production and can cause the system failure or the software failure. So optimizing, right, cost and time by preventing the costly rework. If you find it the bugs early in the stage, then you do not need to do the rework. Rework means bug fixing, retesting, regression testing, and these all delays your software delivery in the market. Okay, so let's talk about the levels of testing. We have unit testing at the first level, right? These all unit testing. This is, this is usually gets done by the developer, right? They, for example, there are five developers who have been, implementing one software, right? So they have worked on their modules, right? Every developer has worked on a different module, so they have tested their own module. So this type of testing we say unit testing. So what actually they do, they go and they, test if there is any exception, if the best practices have been followed, if the software is meeting the expectations, right? The particular code is not, getting failure or something. In the integration level of testing, once these all modules gets integrated, right, and comes for then it comes as a build or a application to test, and it, gets delivered to the QA team. Then the integration level testing starts, and the QA test the product as a integrated product, right? All modules like sign up, sign in, then dashboard, then checkout, then these all system testing, and then the acceptance testing. So during the system testing, so this is very similar, integration and system, these are very similar, right? So once you do it, then you will see, okay, this is integration, where you have been, testing the different modules which are interconnected, right? During the system testing, for example, your application that you have been testing is, fetching data from any third party through any API or through any other database. So that comes under the system testing. You are testing the entire system, the entire environment of your software, right? So that comes under the system testing. UAT, in the UAT, this is, where after your system testing, after your validation part, right? This is the last stage. So during this UAT, the high level testing of the use cases, of the business cases, gets, tested with the real with the prediction like data in your environment. So if the basically during the UAT, we go and we check the positive user journey that is meeting the customer, the client expectations. So a real world example, let's try to understand what comes under the unit testing, what comes under the system integration and acceptance testing. So here I have taken a example of WhatsApp. We all use it. Okay, so there are few scenarios that comes under the unit testing. So this will clear the doubts in the mind. So testing message sending functionality, that is a one module of WhatsApp. So this, for example, developer has built this particular functionality, sending message functionality. So these things will come under the unit testing. A single unit of, a software, it comes under the unit testing. Then we talk about the integration. So testing integration with device features like contacts, microphone, your camera for sending messages. You want to send some pictures which are saved in your phone memory, in your phone gallery, right? So you are, interacting, here two modules are interacting with each other to send the message. Then the system testing, testing cross platform compatibility. It functions correctly on different operating systems, like your WhatsApp working fine on Android and on iOS and other devices, right? Then the acceptance testing, testing basic message functionality such as send and receive text message. So these are the high level testing, right? With production like data, we test the end user journey, how a end user is going to, use the particular thing. We do not do perform any negative here, negative testing. We just have the production like data in the environment, and we, start from point A and we go to point B, C, D, and E, like this. Okay, so we have some another engagement today here. So what is being tested in a unit testing scenario where a user sends some text message? We have four options. So what actually gets tested during the unit test scenario? Anybody who knows can
There is
unmute.
an answer, message sending functionality.
Yes, that's right answer. And the next one is, what is the primary objective of integration testing? Why do we do integration testing basically? We have four options here.
To verify that integrated units modules work together as expected.
Yes, just to verify the integrated units or modules, how they work together. Is there any problem during the, when the components are working fine? If you are testing them separately, they're working fine. But when you connect those, so there might be some, glitches during the connection. There might be some bugs. There might be some redirection bugs, right? So that's why we do the integration testing. So now let's talk about the software testing life cycle, right? So these are the typical steps of software testing life cycle. First of all, we go and requirement gathering and analysis. So this is part of verification, right? The software, the testing team, right? They get involved in the initial calls, right? The stakeholder walkthroughs, right? They read the document, the requirement document. They gather the information and then analyze. Okay, what to test and how to test, right? So these two things gets done during the requirement gathering and analysis, what to test and how to test. Then test planning. Test planning, okay, so requirement, after once you have all the requirements, you know what to test. Now you plan how to test, right? So that comes under your test planning, what type of testing you need, right? So the next step or the next uh, phase is test case designing, right? So test case is nothing but a way to test your particular use case in both ways, positive and negative, right? So you write some scenarios, you write some test cases with some different set of test data to test your functionality, right? So the test data can be your positive test data or negative test data, right? For example, a login functionality, so test cases could be verify the login with the valid credentials and verify the login with the invalid credentials. So when you putting the invalid credentials, so there should be some information appear, some alert message appears to the user. So just to check that, we provide the negative test data to the test case, right? So test case designing, then the test environment setup. So if we talk about in Salesforce, it is sandbox. Salesforce or provide the different level of different type of sandboxes to perform the testing, right? And the test case execution. So once these all four steps are done, then the tester starts executing the test cases. So this execution can be manual execution. One by one, you can pick the test case one by one and then execute manually, or this can be your automated. This process of executing the test cases can be automated, right? We'll talk about the automation also, just to save time and speed up the process of testing. We do the test automation, and then once these all done during the test execution, we report the bug if the expected and the actual results are not meeting. Then we report the bugs, then bug get fixed, then the retesting will perform, and then after these all things, the bugs are closed, all test cases are executed, then we create a test closure report. So this is the last step of this STLC. So these are very famous question if you go for any interview, if you are going as a fresher. So these are the things that the interviewer ask: what is STLC, what actually you do during the planning, what you do during the requirement analysis, what you do in the test environment setup, right? Why do you do integration testing? So these all things they ask. Okay, so similarly we have bug life cycle, right? When you report a bug, right? So this is the picture that you see on the screen. This is I have taken from one website. Okay, so this status in the green, right? According to your organization requirement, or according to your QA manager requirement, these statuses can be more or less uh, in your bug management tool, right? So as soon as a software tester finds a bug and reports it, so the bug go in a new or in an open status. So for example, you see 40 bugs which are new, which are open, right? So it means that bugs are just reported, right? And no developer has worked on those. So those are still either new, or those are just open bugs, not closed and not fixed. Then once the bugs gets assigned to a developer to fix, then the bug status is changed to assign, right? After the bug get fixed, this developer change the status to the fixed and assign back to the QA. QA will perform the retesting. If QA finds it fixed, then the QA go and close it, right? If it is still not fixed in the QA environment where he is testing, so he will reopen the bug. So during the fixing and retesting process, most of the time what happens, developer fix the bug, right, but forget to push the code in the QA environment. So bug is fixed in the dev environment, but he has forgot to push the code in the QA environment. And when QA is going to test it, he or she finds it is still not fixed. So the QA will reopen the bug and assign back to the developer, and this cycle goes on, right? So we have to be very clear, we have to be very careful while doing the retesting, right? So during the retesting, you might, during test retesting a bug, you might find another bug, right? Because at the time when the bug get fixed, the particular functionality was working fine, right? But when you're doing the retesting, you find, okay, this functionality was working fine previously, but because of this fixes, because of this recent bug fix, this working functionality is not working now. So you can report another new bug, right? So there will be two things now. First, you reopen the existing bug, and you log a new bug, right? Okay, so why do we need testing in Salesforce, guys? So whatever we have talked about so far, this was testing in general, right? Now we will talk about why do we need testing in Salesforce? Because Salesforce already have QAs, or Salesforce, whatever Salesforce launches in the market, it get tested various um, from the various QAs and from the various test cycles, right? So they claim that you will not get any issues. Then why do we need testing in Salesforce? What exactly a Salesforce tester does, right? So we'll talk about that. So these are the top 5 reasons why do we need testing in Salesforce, right? So as we all know, right, Salesforce provide flexibility, yeah, right, to perform the customization on top of the standard functionality. So just to test the customization, the customized work, because that customization has been done by your developer, right? Why you have been customizing? Because you want to fulfill your client needs, right? Client has some customized requirements which have not been fulfilled by the Salesforce, because Salesforce has given the standard features in the application, but you want some customization in that particular feature, right? So you hire a developer, you hire a consultancy, and ask them to customize top of that. So to test the customization, we need the Salesforce testers, right? Although this can be done by the developer who has been developed it, but again, that will be a unit testing. If you want your software to get tested on different level of testing, then you need to have a software tester, a Salesforce tester who knows all level of testing, how to increase the user experience, how to meet the performance optimization, how to do the security testing on it, performance on it, right? These all things if you want, so then you need a software Salesforce tester over there. Then provide integration with other enterprise solutions, right? So let's suppose you have Salesforce and you want to integrate it with your Jira, right? So that integration will take place by implementing some APIs, right? So just to test that integration is working fine, you need a Salesforce tester. Just to keep the data integrity, right? For example, you have your client is using some another CRM and now wants to migrate all the data into Salesforce. So that to test the migration part, you also need Salesforce tester. To test the UI things, because Salesforce works for both on the both platform, laptop and mobile, right? So the customization that you have done, for example, you have created one lightweight component, LWC component, right, and placed it on a layout, right, on a lightning page. Now you want to make sure how is it appearing on your mobile device, right? So just to test the customization on mobile device, or just to test the UI of the customized things, you need Salesforce tester. Optimizing the performance also, like you have done the customization. So just to make sure that customization is not, slowing down your entire solution, right? There might be some coding glitches. They might not have followed best practices or something. So these kind of things uh, will be, reported during the performance testing of the application. So these are the top 5 reasons, guys. That is why we need a Salesforce tester. We need testing in Salesforce. So these are the tools to test the Salesforce. If first is not a tool, but manual testing, as I told, you have written all the test cases. Now you have two QAs, and they you have divided the test cases, and they have been, manually going one by one on the test cases and executing them and comparing the expected and actual results by following the test steps. So this is a lengthy process. If your application is small and you have like a small number of test cases, for example 50 or 100 test cases, then manual testing is a good approach in that case, because it will not take much time. But if your application is, a wide application which has, let's suppose, 500 cases that you need to, execute 2 or 3 times during the release, right? On a sandbox, then full copy sandbox, then on UAT. So those 500 cases needs to be, re-executed in 3 environments, so they will become 1500, right? So that will take much time and slow down the delivery, right? Your delivery in the market, right? So just to avoid these kind of, time taking process, right, we go for the second step, that is automated testing. So what do you do? First, you go and you mark those cases which are, repetitive in nature, which you usually, execute in every environment. You might have you will have some set of cases that needs to be executed in every cycle, right? So those test cases, you can automate them, right, by writing some Selenium script, using Playwright, using any other paid tools like Prover, Context QA, Test IM. So this is just a list that I have got. There might be some more tools available in the market, right? So these, but these four that I have used already, that's why I have mentioned here. So you can automate your test cases, right? And you can save time, you can enhance, you can speed up your test execution process by automating. Always it is a very good idea to automate the cases, because it brings the visibility of yours in your team, in your current company, because you are saving time and you have been, introducing a good idea in your company to automate the test cases and save time. Okay, so this is all from my side, guys, on this. If anybody has any questions, so you can ask me. Let me go and check the chat. If you have any questions, guys.
Now there is no questions. Can wait for
Okay.
1 minute.
Okay, yeah, sure, we can wait. Guys, if anybody has any, if someone is trying to move into testing or need some guidance, or if you have any question in your mind, you can ask here. This is a good platform to, discuss your questions, your queries related to your Salesforce testing. Or if already you are working as a Salesforce tester and you have been facing some problems, right? So you can also discuss those things. And if you have any, doubt or any question in this presentation, you can also ask that. Salesforce having many bugs, it is true. Every software can have bugs. It is not about Salesforce. Any software can have bug, because, while defining the requirements, there can be scope of improvements, right? So those improvements, if you not fulfilling, because you cannot fulfill every in you at once, you cannot fulfill all the requirements. That's why Salesforce also, provide the releases. So during the releases, they fix there some existing, if they find, right? If user reports and they give some new releases also. On your Google Play Store, you go and check the applications that you have in your phone, right? They also provide updates. So what is in those updates? Performance optimization. So everybody, just trying to, give you the best user experience by giving you the optimized code of this. Can you please arrange a session on Playwright? Yes, sure, we can arrange that. Is there a full automation support from the tools? uh yes, from some paid tools you will get the full automation support. Is Tosca automation tool also used mainly for Salesforce testing? Yes. How to do test coverage for integration point of view? Any suggestion for automation tools for the third party app integration? How to do the test coverage for integration point of view? Any suggestion? Yes, Prabhu, you can filter out your test cases, right? You filter out your test cases which are mainly testing the integration of the application with the third party application, and then you can choose a tool that supports this automation, right? You can go for Selenium, open source tool, right? And you can go for Playwright also. You can go for some record and play tools in the market where you don't need to write too much code, right? Which are low code tools, right? And you just, first of all, you need to filter out the test cases. Just find out which test cases are there to test the integration of those things, right? And then check for the data integrity, data flow, right? And the data validation also that is coming in the Salesforce from the third party. That these things you can make sure in this. Can you please arrange a session on specific how to get started with automation? Yes, sure, we can do this. How do you handle security testing in Salesforce? So that sensitive data is protected. So Salesforce, if you want to do the security testing, you have to raise some tickets, or if you have to do any like performance testing also, then also you have to raise a ticket to the Salesforce, because this is a cloud application, right? If you put load on the your Salesforce instance, so they will notice and they can block your access to the application. First you have to raise, right? You have to submit your test plan that you want to perform testing, then they will allow you. Which is the best open source low code automation tool? You can go for Prover, or you can go for context QA also. See, Amrita, this again depends on you, right? What is your use cases, how many cases you want to automate, right? And what actually the best means, what is giving you the flexibility to do the things. So this depends on you, your manager, your organization. But I will highly recommend go for Selenium first, just to learn what is automation. Because in the low code tools, what is happening behind the scene, Selenium scripts are working, right? So I believe if you learn Selenium first, right, that will be fruitful for you. Because during the low code you might have some scenario where you need to pass any argument to the code, or you might have some explicit expert to provide. So if you will have idea about this all, then you can do it easily. Otherwise you will again need the assistance. Prover is licensed, not open. Yes, Prover is not free. Joined as a fresher in my company, working on robotic framework in Salesforce. Can you please tell me how to improve my work? Robotic framework. uh, Not getting your question, Gautam. You have recently joined as a fresher in your company, working as a robotic framework, working on robotic framework in Salesforce. Can you please tell me how to improve my work? So automate as many test cases as you can using the robot framework, and present and save time. Guide your team members. Is there any automation tool which was developed by Salesforce? No, there is no tool as such as of now which is developed by Salesforce. Salesforce recommends one unit testing framework, which is Jest, which is JavaScript based. Jest, Jest. This you can use to test your LWC components. How to start learning Salesforce testing as a beginner? Any links, please? Yes, I'll share the links. Nasik, Copado robotic tool for automation can be used. Yes, Copado can be used. Yes, next session we can plan on flow testing. I would recommend, because a flow is really important these days. Everybody is, talking about flows, right? So next session we can do how to test a flow, right? Salesforce provides a way to test the flow, so that we can plan for that session flow testing. We can plan how to start in test automation, right? And we can relate it with Salesforce. Salesforce testing learning. So see, there is testing, Salesforce testing. There are two words, right? So first you need to understand what is Salesforce. Understand its architecture. How does it work? This is entire configured stuff, right? In Salesforce. So you have to first understand what is Salesforce, how does it work, right? Then you you take the testing and integrate with Salesforce, then it becomes Salesforce testing, right? So first go for the admin trainings, I would say. From the trailhead, learn about the admin stuff, like, right? Salesforce admin, how to configure custom objects, what is FLS, what is a level of data flow, hierarchy, these things, right? Then integrate your testing techniques with Salesforce. Then you can optimize the things. Then you can test the things. Imran, certification. Prabhu, regarding certification as a tester, which one I should take first, and is there any list? So you can go for the ISTQB foundation level, which is globally recognized. Prabhu, ISTQB foundation level, you can go for that. If you talk about, Prabhu, if you talk about the testing certification in Salesforce, as far there is no certification available from the Salesforce side specifically for testers, right? As Amrita already mentioned, you can go for Salesforce certified associate, then you can go for admin, advanced admin. The list goes on, right? But if we talk about specifically the testing certification, then ISTQB provides a different level of, certifications. You have to choose your path where you want to go with. If you want to become a performance tester, then performance test manager. So there are certifications for that. If you want to go for the automation path, there are certifications. If you want to go in security testing, you want to become a security test, then senior, then security manager, then also they also provide the certifications in these areas. So you can go and check ISTQB certifications and you will find your path. Okay, I think no more questions, John.
Thank you for the informative session.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, John, and thank you everyone, the audience, for
I am,
supporting
in
and
future, I
engaging.
am expecting you will give more sessions in our community group.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Thank you.
And yes, and if anybody has any questions, you can also ping me on LinkedIn, and I will try to help you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Yes, thank you so much. No, there is no certification voucher available as of now.